Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of 5 Fantastic Minutes, and we are continuing our series on what successful people do not spend their time dwelling on. Coming off part 1 of the series, and we talked about successful people do not dwell on their past. Well, today in part 2, we're going to be talking about the fear of change. Look, here's the reality. Our brains are designed to protect us from what it fears can be harmful to us. So therefore, for many of you out there, change is really difficult because your brain and our brains in many ways are wired in a way to protect you from change. And the real challenging part with that is change is the only way to advance forward. Employees out there, if you want to make more money, change is a big part of that. We've all been in that situation. Maybe it was us with New Patient Group that presented something to you in that the immediate roadblocks of how do we have time for that? Or our patients like it this way, or I've always done it this way, right? These are the signals the brain is just firing out. And the more you're afraid of change, the more those signals fire out. I joke with a lot of you out there that have already heard this story, but if I brought my wife Kristen into one of your practices and we had to coach her to be different and change the way she's always done it, there would be every red flag thrown up at us. She does not like change. She likes things kind of the way they are. And for people like that out there, change is really, really hard. And she understands after meeting me because I thrive on change. I love it. I'm weird like that. I love seeing where something is today. How can we look at it, tear it apart, reimagine it to where it's better in 6 months and even better in a year. And then we look at it in a year, we may tear it apart again. And in 2 or 3 years, watch it blossom. And I love watching that. Employees out there, you heard this at the Iconic event. I love seeing you all grow. Doctor, business owners out there, I love seeing you all grow with your leadership skills to improve the culture, just how you look at the business differently. But it's not easy. And this is the trick that we all face because our brains are protecting us from what it views as harmful. Psychologically, that is how we are all designed. And it's easier for some to overcome that. But the reality is you are never going to be ready for change. Like my wife, she's not going to wake up one morning and say, okay, bring on the change. I'm ready. She's never going to say that. And for many of you out there, that's always going to be the case. Whether that be you're starting a new get in shape plan, or you've got to have the tough conversation with your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it may be. You've got to go to your leadership team and say, I want a raise. You're never going to wake up really ready to do those things. And that's why I teach people motivation's crap. It's a noun, right? Inevitably, it's the self-discipline and the intentional decision-making that's going to outperform other people that just refuse to do those things, and their motivation just falls down and they go back to their old ways. So all of you out there, you need to make the intentional decision. You need to have the self-discipline to realize what your business is going to look like a year from now. It's going to be totally different than today. Employees, if you want to raise and you want to go to your leadership team, you've got to change. You've got to grow. You've got to look at things that whatever it is today, how can you do it differently tomorrow? Right? And that's why it goes back to like spousal relationships, what I was talking about a minute ago. It's hard to wake up in the morning and go, yes, I'm ready to have that tough conversation with my spouse to improve the relationship. It's hard. You may never do it. And that's what last series was about, was looking into the past. We've got to look into the future. But in order to do that, we have to be willing to change. We've got to make the intentional decision to say, no matter how I do it today, no matter how good I think I do it today, can always be better, more efficient, whatever it may be. We've got to change. And working with New Patient Group, obviously we're bringing a lot of change in there. And for our change to work, employees, you've got to be on board with it. You've got to be okay with it. You have to make the intentional decision to say, we're going to do this. And if you do, change can do so many different things for your life, career, doctors, your businesses out there, because so many people aren't willing to do it. Right? And again, you're never going to wake up saying, I'm ready to change. So you've got to have the self-discipline and that intentional decision-making to say, we're always going to do it, no matter how hard it is. All right, have a great week. Take great care of each other, great care of your patients and customers. We'll see you back with another 5 Fantastic Minutes soon. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.